Hey Pet Pro, this episode is sponsored by some incredible brands we personally use and love.
And their support helps keep the mics on. So you will hear more about them throughout the show.
Pet Shop Girls, the voice of the indie, the heart of the trade. Pet Shop Girls, unleash your power, let's make some waves.
Hey everybody, I'm Sherry.
And I'm Carly.
Welcome back to the Pet Shop Girls podcast. We are going to talk about something that we've wanted to talk about for a while, and we're going to dive into the grooming aspect of the pet industry. And today, we're going to focus on the explosion of mobile grooming. I don't know about you, Carly, but I see a mobile truck at every stoplight.
Hey, listen,
where I'm at. So
I just pulled up to my store yesterday, and the one and only mobile groomer that we have in my city was there. So
there you go. But,
yeah,
over the past few years, it seems like there's been a huge boom, and we want to discuss, is this sustainable long term? What should independent retailers and groomers be thinking about? Or if you're looking to add a service department to your business but don't have the space, kind of like Carly, could mobile grooming be the answer? So
well,
today, yeah,
you know what? I was just going to say, listen, why this makes sense, and I think why we're seeing such a big boom here is the cost of rent and everything else. But the cost of rent keeps going up and up and up. And so maybe a bigger space isn't an option, but you still want to offer those valuable services that differentiate us from big box and online giants. So
for sure.
we're
For
going to dig
sure.
into this, and
Yeah.
we've got two special guests who have been very patient while we sit here and flap our faces. So today, let's welcome Anthony Pastrick, Vice President of Marketing. Is that right, Anthony?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and Chaz Bellman, Director of Customer Success at Wag'n Tails Mobile Grooming Vans. This is super cool. You guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you've got a very unique opportunity for many pet pros. Now, I should have asked you this before we started recording. Are you only available in the US?
No, we're actually have our vans available in Canada as well. Typically,
Oh.
but we are working on expanding some other locations and possibly licensing out the upfit, etc. overseas.
Okay, fair enough. But
okay.
Also,
There you go.
we've shipped a few
Carly,
vans to Dubai and other places.
your
as
logo
well.
would look so good on a black van, Carly. It would look
That's right.
so good.
well, okay,
So-
but the good news for that is for all of our listeners, for all of our American and listeners in Canuck land, this is an option. This is an option. So settle in, grab your tea, whatever you're doing, take notes, because we're going to figure out exactly whether or not this is a good fit and why it's such a popular option right now.
For sure. So I'm going to hit it off, guys, with why do you guys think mobile grooming has grown so quickly?
I think it goes back to, yes, COVID fueled the flames of everything, bring it to me.
Mhm.
But even before that, you started to see people with disposable income that started this trend of the bring it to me economy. And since that has started, Uber Eats, you're seeing everything delivered to your doorstep. And why wouldn't pet
Grooming.
services be the same exact
Yeah.
thing? So Wag'n Tails actually started producing vans about 30 years ago. And so at the start, at the precipice of mobile grooming was Wag'n Tails. It was formed by a family of groomers, and they built their first van, and people kind of took note. And I believe it was their accountant that said, I think you could make money by making these. And then that's where the company started. And so over the last 30 years, you've seen this growth of people realizing the freedom that they get from being a mobile groomer.
And not
But
tied to a
also
location.
you see pet parents saying, oh my gosh, the convenience that I get, the security that my pet is going from the house right out to the driveway, has one-on-one care, and then goes right back into the house.
Yeah.
It's almost like the bring it to me economy to the max of comfort and control that people are getting through this.
Yeah. Well, and leave
So-
it to the bean counter to figure out another way to make money. Like, so
Well, so are you guys seeing more orders come through for these vans? Like, has it skyrocketed in like the past 5 years?
So the mobile pet economy is actually growing 10% year over year. And
Wow.
so that's across the wide spectrum. That's across grooming, that's vet, that's other mobile pet services. I mentioned vet because yes, we are about 90% grooming in our business. We also have a vet side of our business. So we take these vans, like the one behind me, and we'll both do the grooming conversion in the back for a grooming salon, but then also a mobile vet clinic in the back as well.
That
And so you're seeing it across the pet economy, and that growth is constant. And I think what you're seeing also is there's more and more people that are taking notice. We have over 6,000 vans on the road today that
wow.
came out of a Wag'n Tails facility, and you're seeing repeat purchases left and right. But you're starting to see the growth of franchises and
Okay.
fleets where there are these people that have
Yeah.
said, "Oh my gosh, like I may not be a groomer, but I'm a smart business person."
Yeah.
And they come in and they start these fleets that have now grown to 10, 20 vans. And then on the
Right.
franchise side, there's large franchises around the country that Chaz works with day in and day out that are continuing to grow their footprint and expand.
It's interesting that you said about doing the vets because immediately when you were talking about the bring it to me, that's immediately where my brain went, right? Like I know my little guy does not enjoy going for spa days, even though you would think he would when I call them spa days. And he doesn't love going to see the dog tour, even though again, I call her the dog tour, but he doesn't love these things. But maybe if it came to him, it's a little bit different than having to go for that car ride. And then we pull up and he knows where we are. And he's like, put on the brakes. I'm not going in here. I hate this place. What I think is really cool though, too, when you're talking about fleets and people who maybe aren't groomers, that's me. Like that is the category I fit into. I'm not a groomer. I don't even I can't even hold my dog while he gets his toenails trimmed because I'm so nervous and then he feels that. So I'm not the groomer, but for me to have a fleet of groomers that I'm just the operator. And now when you talked about franchises, sorry, I'm all over the place. When you talked about franchises, these are existing franchises today that decide to bring on a fleet. When I decide I want to work with Wag'n Tails, I'm not becoming part of a Wag'n Tails franchise, right?
No, you wouldn't. So we work with franchises, owner operators alike. So a lot of, like we mentioned with the franchises, that's just franchises that utilize our vehicles. So we're just the upfit company.
Okay.
Now we obviously think we're more than that, where we're selling a business model. The van's the tools.
Yeah.
But no, you're not required to join anything. You can be your own owner operator, and I mean that's been our backbone for many years. We're just starting to see the franchise space really people realize the benefit of mobile grooming, and then to like for your example, you get 3 or 4 of these mobile grooming vans, and kind of the future of where I think this will go is pet wellness, because your groomer is going to see the dog every 3 to 4 weeks, where a veterinarian isn't seeing them unless there's a problem. So if you have 3 or 4 mobile grooming vans, then that can set up a vet van where now you have the clientele base there already. Think of the dual income households, elderly dogs, elderly people that aren't going to take their pets to the groomer or the vet on
Yeah.
a monthly basis. Now you have enough to add that veterinarian, and the groomers can just continue to relay, hey, this dog has dropped some weight, or I see this skin issue. And then you have just one referring the other.
Yeah. So you guys are essentially selling a mobile turnkey business
Yes.
at the end of
That's
the
the
day.
way we like to look at it.
Yeah.
We're selling you a business model. The van's a tool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think what's been fun is you see the life change that happens. So I remember one of my first weeks at Wag'n Tails, a lot of people will come on site to pick up their van. I mean, maybe like 20% of people come on site. So a lot of these we ship around the country. And I remember walking out of the office one day and a hauler was loading up 3 vans on the back to be delivered around the country. And it hit me at that point. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a large investment that people have been saving for. It's going to change their life. They're going to be able to set up their own business. Like it was a kind of a visceral emotional connection for me where I was like, oh my gosh, this is super cool that we're able to bring this and make it possible for people.
Yeah.
So it's a
Circle
it's
back to no, it's super cool. And yeah, you can set your own schedule. It is freedom. I agree. But I want to circle back to the economy, because the economy's not super great right now. So it it is kind of surprising that people are willing to pay premium pricing, because you do have to charge more since a groomer can't do as many dogs in a day. and they're paying for that convenience. Do you see that stopping anytime soon? Are you worried that we're eventually going to hit saturation for this style of grooming?
I'm not really any worry about all at saturation. Plenty of people are willing to pay for the convenience. It kind of comes down to the what's your time worth. So if you think of taking a dog to a grooming salon, a lot of people can't take 2 hours out of their day, their work day, to leave home and go do that. So their time's worth more than that extra 50 or $60 that they're going to pay a mobile groomer to get there. And when it comes to saturation, we're so far from being anywhere close to that. I would probably say Miami is probably the busiest area, if not Los Angeles area. And we have people buying daily, monthly that are filling those vans up in 4 to 5 months just because it only takes 180 dogs to fill a van on, let's say if they do 6 dogs a day and every 6 weeks, that van fills up so quickly that you don't have to travel too far and there's not too many households that you actually have to cover to get to that point. So it kind of creates a cool community instead of competition where mobile groomers especially are willing to help each other because there's so much to go around. So it's there could be 5,000 vans put in place tomorrow and we're still not going to touch the demand that's out there.
I think that the other proof point to that is if you think about the average radius that a mobile groomer has to cover, you're probably looking at an average of 15 to 20 miles at max
For those 180 dogs.
for those 180 dogs. So they're staying pretty close to their home or whatever that target area is. And they're maxed out. They maximize the advertising potential. That's this van driving around. And a lot of times that does really well for them, along with the word of mouth that they get from being in that area day in and day out.
Yeah. I was
Right.
thinking too, even when you talked about that, Sherry, I remember back my whole 6.5, 7 years ago when I was writing my business plan. And one of the things that it talked about then was the economy and the cost of living, and that millennials at the time, that's the generation it was referring to, maybe couldn't afford to go and buy that $400,000 house, but they thought nothing of dropping $100 on a sweater for their dog. And so I think that we're probably in a similar situation today, is that, hey, I can't go buy that $800,000 house now, but I do have $100 burning a hole in my pocket to pamper my dog. And so I still live in my parents' basement, and now I'm going to run and I'm going to get him, or I'm going to have the van come to me and I'm going to pamper him right in my own driveway.
Yeah.
And you hit it on a good point there. Like the generation or just the age group that's, I would say, 5-10 years younger than me, they're not having kids at the rate we saw with our parents or grandparents' age, and they treat their animal like their kids. So they're spending more money in the pet space in general.
Yeah. And it was the boomers. And it still is to some point, the boomers with their empty nest syndrome. The pets become their replacement children. And then the millennials, they had pre-practice kids with dogs. But now it would be that Gen X where their kids are starting to leave the nest and they've still got their pets and that's their baby and they're going to spend the money. If we're talking about, we've got somebody who is going to go forward with Wag'n Tails. They wanted to set up their own mobile grooming. What do you think differentiates those who thrive and survive as business owners to those who fail if they choose to go down this path?
It's a great question.
Yeah, especially early on, a lot of the success or like I would say fault points that we see are your scheduling and routing. So if you're driving, you're not making money. Obviously, we don't want people driving 30 minutes between appointments.
Right.
So especially as you start to fill up, it's making sure that if, let's just say, for example, if you're in Miami area, that you're not driving from Miami to Fort Lauderdale to Pompano Beach when you could do 18 dogs and have 6 in each location and space those out day by day. So it's a lot of the early on is just making sure that you're utilizing the technology that exists to help with your scheduling, help with your routing, and then plan that well to just make sure you're keeping your costs down in general.
I know you guys help your buyers with logo, website, branding, which is totally major value added, especially for a groomer who doesn't usually have a business degree and this may be their first entrepreneur journey. So do you help with how they can build routes and stuff like that?
One of the fun parts of my job, especially working with some of the newer people and making sure that they are successful early on, because them succeeding is us succeeding in the long run. there's technology out there that they can do to assist themselves with that. So there's apps like Mogo, Cuddles, etc. that for $90 a month, that's going to input all your clients for you. It's going to allow you to take credit cards, set your schedule, and it'll do your routing for you.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
that's what I
So
was
a
going
lot
to
of the
ask.
times it's just like, okay, like how do I work this or how do I teach it? So like we have business plans if people need assistance early on. And then like I have a full sheet that we can send out that shows you like, okay, if you have this many dogs a day at this price and you're spending this on marketing, gas, your phone bill, etc., this is what you're going to make in a year. And they can plug and play their own numbers. So a lot of
Oh,
times it's
that's
just like,
nice.
yeah, getting people over their fears of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the other things
That
that
was going
I've
to be my question is if somebody chooses to go with you guys, do you have that kind of scheduling software that has built-in routing so that they can maximize their or lessen their drive time and maximize money making time?
I think Mogo is the big one for
Mogo's the biggest one, definitely. But
mobile.
yeah, we
Yeah.
don't put it in the van to start. Just 'cause much like clippers, all the groomers have their own preference of the tech and stuff that they like to use. So yeah, we definitely have suggestions that we give out and some companies that we suggest based on what we've seen and what we've known to be successful throughout the industry. But that's not something that we supply when you buy a van from us.
Okay.
What back to your branding help? What common branding mistakes do you see people make, or how does that process work?
So we have a in-house graphics team, and we can do a graphics package, etc. And we have a phenomenal graphic designer and a good vinyl team to assist with that. And they'll bounce ideas back and forth with the customer, especially to help them avoid some of that. I would say for the 3 years that I've been here, the biggest mistake that I see people make is not putting mobile grooming on the side of the van.
Ah,
So we get some very creative business names like Wizard of Paws, etc. Like a lot of fun stuff. Like walking in the showroom is a blast, but not
that's
putting
awesome.
mobile grooming on there, and people driving by or passing by don't know what the van does.
Yep. Well, you
So
know
like you can
what?
have your
I mean,
QR code phone number, but if you don't know what you're calling for, you're not going to get.
you're not calling. That is the same mistake that people make on their brick and mortar. They come up with the cutest name and then they don't actually say what the business is or what it does. I made that mistake. I was like, House of Paws Pet Boutique. How can you not know what that is? But nobody knew what it was. And so then I added signage to my window that says natural pet store for dogs and cats, healthy food and treats, so that they know what it is. And they stop coming into my store asking for a groom because that's what they do all the time.
Right. Yeah, and sometimes like just cute spelling of words like paws with a Z and stuff that
Yeah.
doesn't do well in a search.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
we've kind of been the victim of till Anthony got here and corrected some of our Google search engines and stuff. Like a lot of people were spelling it WAGGIN or WAGOI or ON, and it's WAG apostrophe N. So like
Right.
the search
Mhm.
results weren't always coming up how you wanted them.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that a
So-
service that you offer to others, Anthony? Because like you look you up.
so
It'll
I-
cost you.
yeah.
Well, that's okay.
No, I've got a fantastic team that has been hard at work for probably about the last 9 months to a year of digging into all of that stuff, and have put us on a really great trajectory to be found by the right people.
Nice.
And when they land on our webpage, they're getting the right information that they need, that they're looking for.
Right.
So I could hook. I if you say like I know a guy, like I
Okay,
could get
okay.
you in touch with the right people who could help you with that.
We'll get our people to talk to your people and we'll set something up. Yeah.
So I want to go back to numbers real quick. And so for the average groomer, I guess, what would be a realistic revenue expectation per van per day?
So our national average, we have the very good luxury of that our groomers and clients like to participate in surveys and give opinion out. So each year we run a survey of all of our clients that are willing to participate in it. So we found that the like national average for like a smaller dog is 140 before tip. So if you're at 6 dogs a day, 850 a day is probably on the low end. I've done plenty of ride-alongs and about all of them clear that on a day-to-day basis.
So 6 dogs a day. Like I'm just thinking, my little dude is a 5.5 pounder. And I would say that on average, when I take him, occasionally he gets done in an hour, but
Six
sometimes
seems
it
a
can.
lot to me. But, okay, is it
That's what I was thinking. Like, is
because
that because If they're 2
Unless
hours
you're
each.
doing multiple dogs in a multi-dog household, which would be awesome. But if you're doing individual dogs at 6 different houses and you're including drive time, hook up your water or whatever you have to do to set up the van.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at it like she just described, like it takes an hour on average for most dogs, and a lot of our, like I say, all of them do dogs under 40 pounds seems to be kind of the strong point in the market. Now, there's plenty of money to be made doing 3 very large dogs or 2 very large dogs a day. So the setup is pretty simple, just basically adding your water in the morning. But it's just like if you think of it as a full-time job, 6 dogs at 6 hours, and with tight routing, you're not spending more than 5 to 10 minutes between each drive.
Hmm.
And I think
Okay.
there is a mix that happens. I remember, so when I started at Wag'n Tails, I went on a ride along, and I think the amount of appointments that we covered was, I want to say like 8 in a day. But one of those houses had 2 dogs
Right.
that came out at the same time, and you had a groomer, but also an assistant who was doing the bathing. So there's some optimization that happens there.
Mm-hmm.
In that neighborhood, there was also the next client was right next door. So then you cut down on your drive time.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple in there that were purely just a bathe. And so it was we're going to clean and we're going to get this dog ready to go. So I think you like that 1 hour average, I think kind of brings in anything that could be a full groom from bathe and cut to maybe just a smaller service as well.
Yeah. I guess
So
my salon sees so many doodles that
Yeah,
like even in my brick and mortar, I mean, we can only do 6 in a day because we're seeing large doodles. So
right. And if it were doodles, you could do 2 or 3 a day and still be coming close to making the same that you would
'Cause you
with 6
charge more.
smaller dogs. Because you charge
Yeah,
significantly
yeah.
more. Like we refer to doodles as the D word because they are a lot of
Yeah.
work, but they do make a ton of money. So like I would say the majority of our owners are probably charging north of 225 for it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So typically compared to a brick and mortar, would you say the prices are like 30% more?
30 to 40%. Again,
Yeah.
area depending.
Yeah.
But for
What
the
what we
for
could
the
charge in South
convenience.
Bend, Indiana versus what you can charge in Miami or Los Angeles is vastly different.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. But the convenience is what they're paying for. I mean, that means that I don't have to take a day off work to take my dog and then find something to do for 2 hours while he gets groomed and then go back and pick him up. I can literally stay at home and do my thing. I was thinking though too, like when you guys are talking about ride-alongs, and I think ride-alongs are extremely valuable. Back in my corporate day, I mean, we used to do ride-alongs with our techs. And so they were the guys out on the street and they were climbing the poles and doing all the things. Is offering ride-alongs to people who are potentially interested in becoming like working with Wag'n Tails to set up their own mobile grooming, is a ride-along an option for them to kind of see like, this is what a day in my life would look like?
yeah, I think there's a couple different ways to do it. I think if you would contact us and we're willing to come our way,
Yeah.
I think we have several that we have locally that we could help get set up with. And I think the thing that we want to be just really conscious of is safety of our groomers. If somebody just is contacting us and we really don't know who they are, we're not just
Right.
going to set them up with a groomer in Miami to ride along.
Of course.
But I think there are ways that we could discuss to do that. We actually have a couple employees here that have seen the value in this and have purchased a van and have started a mobile grooming business.
Nice.
Hired a groomer and so we kind of we probably have about 2 to 3 that we could talk with here.
Yeah.
But again, it's having somebody come to Northern Indiana. Now, if you're coming into town to watch your team play Notre Dame, then it
Right.
might actually work out okay, and you benefit that way too. But there's not a large opportunity there.
Yeah, no, and I would expect there to be some sort of a significant vetting process, right? You don't want the cray crays coming along just to like jump in the van but yeah, if they've kind of gotten to a certain point in their exploratory journey with you guys going down that path and you know that okay, this is a serious individual. This isn't just some guy that's like, I want to see what it's like.
The cool thing about the grooming community being so collective and not competitive with each other, if they're that far in the path, they know someone or someone locally or a friend that's a groomer, and they're kind of doing that on their own. So where Anthony mentioned, though, if we're facilitating that, it kind of puts the groomer at risk and then us at an insurance risk if we're sending some random guy out to groom with someone that we've never met him. And
Right.
it's just kind of a gray area that's tough for us to operate in.
So let's say you just bought one of the vans and you're starting out. You've set them up for as to be as successful as you can. How long does it usually take to fill your calendar? Like how many months does it take someone to build their route, attract new clients, and do all the things?
It's going to depend on the area and then how motivated that individual is as far as like marketing, etc. What their clientele list looked like from the place that they left, how many clients are coming with them. So that can range pretty heavily.
Which
With a
I'm
lot of new
sorry, for a
people.
brick and mortar is a big no-no.
Right. I totally understand that, but it's kind of like getting your hair cut, right? Like if
Yeah,
your
yeah, it's
stylist
gonna
goes to
happen.
another boutique, it does occur. It's just kind of reality of the industry. So I've seen people fill up as quick. It's 3 to 4 months, but I would say probably average 6 to 8 would probably be pretty normal. With new people, a lot of times I'm like, hey, go park your van at the busiest shopping center in your area, or call your local humane society in some news areas. Let them know you're going there. Go create that relationship, groom some dogs for free, get them adopted, create that relationship there. Or like within your area, go find the landscapers, the pool companies and stuff, the people that are already working with people with disposable income and partner with them on referrals.
Chaz, you mentioned like grooming dogs for free. I think that's one of the really cool unlocks that happen with mobile is that there's a lot of philanthropic outreach that can be done. The amount of groomers that probably take a day every once in a while and go to Humane Society and groom all the dogs and have them like freshly fluffed and buffed and ready to go home to a new forever home.
That makes good social
Like,
media content too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was just thinking. Like if this was me, I'd probably partner with a rescue and a photographer. And we would do some sort of a charitable event where we groom the dogs, the rescue dogs for free, do a photo op for free and get that all out on the social media. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like we might have an application for you by the
right.
end of this
Yeah.
conversation.
Yes.
Okay, Pet Pros, I want to talk about something we've been using in my store that honestly changed how our team shows up with customers. We put our staff through Carly's Pet Nutrition Foundation course.
Yes, the exact training that I built for my own team. Because when I opened, I couldn't find anything that really taught nutrition in a practical, retail friendly way.
Right? I remember thinking my team already knows a lot. But once we started the training, I realized how much deeper the training goes.
Ah, and that's because it's not brand based training, it's principles. We dig into food types, processing, label reading, gut health, whole food supports, supplements, and how it all connects.
And it's taught in simple, customer language. That's what stood out to me. My team stopped sounding scripted and started sounding confident.
And that was my goal. I wanted my team to explain things the way that I do in real conversations.
And it worked. My average ticket increased, supplement sales grew, customers started trusting our recommendations faster.
That's because now your team understands the why, not just the what.
Exactly. Even when I'm not in the store, I know they can guide people properly. They're mentoring, not just selling, and not relying on me to answer all the nutrition questions.
Yeah. And that consistency and expertise from your team is what builds real customer trust.
If you're serious about being a health-focused store, this is one of the best investments you can make.
And you can find it at retailbrilliance.com. Click Browse Courses and search Pet Nutrition, or grab the direct link in our show notes.
Your team will feel the difference.
And your business will too. Listen, I was trying to think, how would I fill my van with water in Saskatchewan in the middle of winter?
Oh, that's a good question because yeah, she's in a very cold climate. Is there heating
For
elements?
14 months of the year. It's
Only for
Yeah.
14 months of the year.
Well,
Yeah,
and
nice.
I'm an RVer, so I have taken an RV into the mountains before in January, and all the water was frozen by the time we parked the RV, and then there was no unfreezing it. So I take it there is heating elements on these things to prevent that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a very easy antifreeze system that comes with every van. So nightly you can put antifreeze into the
Has
lines.
it been tested for
There's tank
Saskatchewan
heaters.
winters?
I don't know if we've actually tested in Saskatchewan. That's a great question. It's been,
Buffalo, New
great.
York. Maybe that close enough?
Please.
Yeah.
You Americans, you shut down with 1 inch of snow. Snow can
No.
be higher than the
What?
houses.
Maybe in Atlanta.
In Texas.
In Texas, we do.
Even
In Texas,
even the
Texas,
talk of
yeah.
snow, they shut down.
No.
It might snow, so I'm going to shut down.
Like 2 flakes fall from the sky.
Yeah.
Everyone freaks out. Everyone stays home. Yeah.
Yeah. And meanwhile, snow can literally be taller than our houses, and we're like,
Yeah.
just dig your way out and go to work.
Do
That's what we
you
do.
guys help them set up their social media too and give them tips on how to do that?
We absolutely would. I don't think we've had a lot of people ask us for that.
Okay.
But yeah, there's definitely things that I think Chaz
there
in
could
his
be
role,
a future role for Carly at Wag'n Tails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean-
Social media director.
I know.
I would think that's
I-
how you would get a ton of new clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that has been discussed a little bit of like, hey, what more can we do for businesses to help them get started? And if somebody would call Chaz and say, hey, I'm looking to move into a van, but I would like help in this way and this way, there's
Well,
absolutely people on our team that would be more than
We
happy
give
to
we
talk.
give a lot of social media tips on this podcast. So
Yeah.
it can easily
can-
transfer to mobile grooming. Yeah.
Yeah, there you
There you
go.
go.
I mean, we have a lot of mobile groomers, including some of our ambassadors that take huge advantage of social media and have gotten sponsorships off of it and following. And like, it's great because it grows the industry. But I think the one thing, like, we don't get asked a whole lot about social media because our clientele base is fairly young. So a lot of them are pretty versed in the social media part of it already. It's just if they have the willingness to put themselves out there and like initially feel awkward on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so seriously, in a colder area, like where I live, well, and I'm just thinking because
You're
in the
thinking about your
winter-
future van, Carly. That's what you're
Yeah.
thinking about, right?
Yes, and there we go.
Yeah.
In the winter, I literally, and everybody in Saskatchewan would do this, we turn our outdoor water off in the winter so that the pipes don't freeze and burst on the outside of the house. So where would I fill my van with water? Do I go to a car wash, or like, how do I do that?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends again on your area and locations. I'm sure plenty of areas that are covered or like RVs, like Sherry mentioned, that you can fill at, or if it's like you turn your water on each day and then turn it off when you're done filling it, that's not terribly uncommon because we have a similar area issue around here with we all take our hoses off outside. But if each morning I got to run the hose, I'm going to go turn my water on inside or leave it on a trickle overnight to make sure it doesn't freeze, and then just fill it up in the morning and then turn that water off.
So it is my I got to fill my water every day, obviously, but that lasts me all day. So it's a once a day thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk
And
about
sir-
return on investment. What's the average time you think it would take to pay off one of these vans and like break even?
So most of our vans are financed for 5 years. The great thing is it falls under tax section 179. So you can depreciate it over 3 years or do it all in one shot. So typically if you're talking somebody,
But like revenue, like bringing in the revenue.
wise,
Yeah.
most people, I would say within a year and a half.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Well,
think there's two sides to it. I think the traditional financing path, like Chaz said, it's a finance process for about 5 years, but then we also have a Wag'n Tails owned leasing program as well, which gives the ability to buy out the van after 2 years of ownership. It is a 5-year lease. So there's a couple different ways, but I think the majority of people with the income level that they turn, it's around that 2-year mark.
are there different packages that somebody who's like, okay, I'm going to be a mobile groomer, are there different packages that they would get through you guys? Are we going to talk about prices, or is that different depending upon where we are, so it's not worth?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have different layouts within our vans. So we've got Ford, Dodge, Mercedes, which we were a Ford Pro upfitter, a Mercedes expert upfitter, and then we've had Dodges, and everybody's engineers have come in and approved what we do in these vans already. So we have one vans for every type of lifestyle, but we have different sizing in our vans. So if you need a bigger van, we have the Sprinter 2500 and the Sprinter 3500. So the 3,500 gives you 3 additional feet. So if you're doing some larger dogs and you want a second grooming station in there, or if you have 2 people running the van. So yeah, we can pretty much fit anything to any use case.
I think it all comes down to how you want to groom and your price range, right? I think there's, like Chaz said, the 3 different platforms, but then the sizing, you could have 1, 2, and we even have like a larger bus platform that could get you 3. So I mean, there's different ways to be able to groom and the size that you want to invest in, and those are all
I mean,
options within.
honestly, I looked at some of y'all's pricing, and it's very similar to an RV because they
Yeah.
make there's RVs that are built out in vans just like this that
Mhm.
you have a bathroom, there's a kitchen, there's a bed, and it's around the same price.
I'll
Yeah.
forgive you for not using Toyota since they don't offer a van.
Yeah.
But
I typically see Mercedes in the RV world.
Yeah. And Mercedes is our best seller.
Yeah.
And I think that's another point of the conversation when you think about like the maintenance of the vans. I know you talked about like the setup in the morning, and a lot of people come to us and they say, "Well, what should I go? Should I go with Ford? Should I go with Mercedes? Should I go with Ram?" And really, that's a personal preference. I may be a Ford person through and through, and I know exactly where to go for my Ford service. Because if it's something that's happening with the van itself, the chassis, you're going to want to be able to go to a local dealer that you feel good with for service. And that's one of the benefits with what we offer through our certified upfitter status is that we hold that original manufacturer warranty. And so you can go to your dealer and have that service under warranty if you need it.
Are there any hidden other, like, besides repair work, would you say there's any other, like, hidden fees that people don't initially think about when it comes to running a mobile grooming business?
Ooh. Not too too. I mean, you have your consumables, your shampoos, your towels. I mean, clippers, combs, brushes, etc. But if you're in the grooming space, you're already aware of most of those. And then just, I mean, your standard vehicle maintenance, your oil changes, your tires, etc. But I mean, I think most of the time people are pretty aware of what they're getting into, and there's not usually a surprise with like, oh goodness, I didn't think about having to fill up propane or something.
Oh, I guess insurance. That would be a good one.
well, that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking. You'd have business insurance, but then you'd also have vehicle insurance that you'd need to
Yeah.
have.
And we work with a couple companies that are just focused in the pet space that combine that all in one.
Oh, nice,
And
nice.
they'll even take care of, like, let's say your vehicle gets in a wreck and it's down for 2 months, they'll cover loss of income.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, okay. So here's what I was thinking. If we had listeners out there that were thinking this is the coolest thing since sliced bread, and I must be all over this like jelly, what? How do they know that yes, this you are where you need to be in order to go forward? Like, how would they know you're ready to do this?
How would they, as an individual, know they're ready?
Yeah, like if they came to you, if I came running to you guys and said, "Oh my God, I have to do this," and then you'd be like,
Mhm.
"Okay, Carly, back off. Have you done X, Y, Z, all of these things before we know that you're a serious contender here and you're ready?" Like, how does somebody know that they're ready to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the time it comes to just being ready to work for themselves. And then wanting that free time, or like a lot of times people don't talk about within the grooming industry what a toll it takes on your body. So we see a lot of groomers that are like, man, I'm at PetSmart. I'm doing 12 to 15 dogs a day. And I'm just ready to do less, make more, and work for myself. Or they're seeing that, okay, we're only getting $65 a dog here at PetSmart, and half of that's going to the company right away. Like, there's a lot more opportunity here to be had. So most of the time they're already mentally at that point when they put in an application with us. Obviously, sometimes we need to help them with like credit, or that's where our lease program is great because we do it in house and we evaluate the grooming skill and everything, not just like a lot of the banks do, where it's an algorithm and it spits out, hey, this credit profile needs $20,000. So we take care of that in house to get people that probably normally wouldn't get approved through a standard process going in their business, because we've seen such success with just anybody. If you've got a work ethic and get out of bed and groom each day, you're going to be fine.
Well, I was
I
going to
think some
say,
of it comes down to like, do they also have the skill? I think there's an element of how comfortable are you? Probably like
marketing. That's what I'm
some
thinking.
some
Yeah.
experience, 1 to 2 years of like, hey, I've done this. I've built a client base, because I think having that starting base is also important, with that they would already kind of have a built-in clientele when they move over. If they're like have never groomed and are trying to start this with zero clientele, that startup time is going to be a lot longer. So if they're coming in already feeling like, oh, I think my van might be 50 to 60% booked, then they're off to a great start.
Mm-hmm. Chaz, remember that you are talking to business owners here. Every single one of us knows that you're lying when you say we get more free time as a business owner.
Yeah.
And set your own schedule.
Yeah. So how long does it take from I want to do this to I am doing it when they go through the process with you?
What do you think? What do you think it is?
Well, you got to pick your floor
You
plan
gotta
and
build
all
my
that.
van, right?
So you got to
Ah.
build it. My guess
month.
is
So
at least 6 months.
let's say from the time Carly, because this is Carly, that we're going to check your time against what we expect and then what actually is going to happen when you put in your application for a
Okay.
van.
Mhm.
Okay, so Carly smashes the submit button on her credit application. From the time that happens to the time you're rolling out of Wag'n Tails with your new van, how long do you think that takes?
1 month.
6 months.
Yeah.
It's about a month. Yeah.
No way. That's
So the
insane.
application, typically we can have an approval back in a day or two from the time you apply. And we do keep, I would say, usually 10 to 15 open stock vans just ready to go. Should somebody want one in as little as like a week and a half. But typically, if we're going to put it on the line, build it to your exact specs, yeah, month. Spot on.
Okay. And so then the person would have to come to you to get the van. You don't like ship it to Canada.
We can ship.
Oh,
We
you okay?
ship probably 75% of our vans. Most of the people that come and pick up are first-time buyers that want to walk through an orientation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, if you want to come visit, we're like when people come
Yeah,
to
we love
pick up their van, we love to walk the production line. And if they want to see kind of the stops along the way that we do on it's about 10 to 12 stops along the production line. And then they get an orientation once they see their van, and then Chaz and his team can do a walkthrough of the tools and the processes and stuff.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask too, because of course my brain always goes to training. And so the orientation of kind of getting comfortable with the van is one piece of that. Is there other training offerings that you have for a new mobile business groomer that works with you?
Yeah, we have a whole video library of tips and tricks of how to run your van, or even if it's something as simple as changing a water pump. So throughout our van, there's QR codes that are all self-help videos. And then we put in like a full box with a warranty that gives you instructions on what to clean daily, what to clean weekly, what to clean monthly. And if they run into any of those problems, we've got our customer service team's phone number right in there, full team available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And I'm often available on the weekends. My phone number's on the signature of
That's
my
more
emails,
than what the RV places offer.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because like us being in the RV industry, a lot of our employees have come from there, me included. So
you get it.
I get it.
Yeah. And you can head off the headaches by being proactive about it. Okay.
Very early. Yep.
So the training that you're offering would be more around, yes, you're a groomer. You're not providing grooming training. You're providing
you would not
now.
want me to do that.
Yeah. You're providing that now you already know the grooming thing, but now you're going to do it in a completely different environment. We're going to teach you about your environment. That's the part that we're teaching at Wag'n Tails. And so then, is there a marketing course too that you offer them to say, like, here's how, like, I know you talked about some tips, like go park here, partner with these dudes. Is there an official marketing training that you would give to these people to say, here's how you market your new business?
That's where our success guide would come into play.
Okay.
So with us being in business for 30 years, we are for groomers by groomers. So we've taken all the information that we've gathered and what has made people successful and put it into a nearly 60-page success guide.
Perfect.
So yeah, there's plenty of tips and tricks on pretty much any facet of the business that you want to explore.
Okay. Well, let's get into that success guide, because you guys have a little special, not the full success guide, right? But you have, for our listeners who are interested in this, first of all, we want to encourage you to reach out to Wag'n Tails. We're going to put their contact information in the show link, or in our show notes for you. And then when you mention Pet Shop Girls, you are going to get a version of a success document to kind of, if you're thinking about this will be the thing that pushes you over the edge to say, yes, this is for you. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great.
Perfect. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to tell our listeners that we maybe haven't touched on yet, or you expected to talk about and we didn't talk about it?
Let me look real quick. Going through some of the things we previously discussed.
I think it's a pretty fun industry.
Yeah.
Like, it's been fun to come in and meet this community of groomers. I've been with Wag'n Tails about a year, and just seeing how supportive it is, just it doesn't like Chaz mentioned, there's nobody that's really in it for themselves. That's a community, and everybody is supportive, and there's enough to go around for everybody. And that's what's been really fun. And I think going mobile is just another way and another community that you get to tap into. The amount of resource groups that are out there on Facebook that are constantly connecting on mobile and sharing tips and tricks. That's another great way that you can just explore and learn and kind of figure out if this is the right path.
Well,
Yeah. And for me, coming from the RV space, it's a very different clientele that's not telling me.
Yeah, it is.
But someone that what drives me forward every day and like makes me want to come into work is I travel quite a bit for our shows, and like just hearing the clients that come up and like, man, I was making $35,000 a year at PetSmart, and I bought a van off you, and this year I cleared 120. Like, thank you. So like hearing that success story
yes,
is the coolest thing in the world. And like Anthony mentioned, it's a full community, even with the franchises. Like, I had two of the different franchises send me a picture of them eating dinner together because like they were interested about each other. And I just told them, I was like, here's each other's number, go to dinner at the next franchise show.
yeah,
And they
Yeah.
all realize that there's enough, they all do things differently, and that there's different people for their franchises. And it's such a cool space. And like I always go back to my first show. There's a gentleman named Chris Elias that owns the Rough Life, RUFF, in
Of course.
Long Island and in Jupiter, and has started a franchise called Dapper Tails. And my first show was Hershey, which is the biggest show in mobile grooming. And I was only like 3 months in and just learning in a fire at that moment. And he came up and started talking about his vans and his business a lot. And I was like, would you please just eat lunch with me and rapid fire all the business knowledge? And he gladly did for 3 days straight.
Yeah.
And has become one of the best friends I've had in the industry. But like watching him help people or other groomers, even at shows, like hearing him, like someone being like, well, I really like grooming, but I just don't like the business part of this. He's like, cool, I'll buy your van. Come work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a
Yeah,
unique thing that you don't see in any other space.
I wanted to say, yeah, do you have all these resources for individual groomers that come to buy your vans, but what about people like me and Carly that already have a store that want to add this as a branch of offerings? Do you have resources for especially somebody like Carly that's never done grooming, like, how much to pay the groomers and all these things?
I can email it to you as soon as we're done here. Yeah, it's a full business plan, and like the good thing with somebody that's got a brick and mortar established already, like we have certain finance companies that only work with established businesses because the success rate of those established businesses is so high. So it's one of those things. It's awesome adding mobile to your existing business because it's not going to detract from the clients that you already have.
Right.
It's opening up a whole new group
To
of
new
clientele.
clients. Yeah.
Right.
And every time that van goes out, it's a mobile billboard.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. You can probably build your routes faster because you already have a customer base. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is, and I love that. I mean, when you guys are talking about the community in the pet industry, and Sherry and I see that, and that is something that we try to do is we try to provide that useful information to help elevate the entire industry, regardless of whether we're in the grooming side of it or we're in the brick and mortar retail side or the dog walking or the whoever you are in the industry. And I think I agree 100%, regardless of what segment you're in the industry, there is enough business for all of us. And pretending that you're the only game in town doesn't work anymore. Like it's not
I
a
will
thing.
say something like the funniest and toughest arguments I have with groomers that like have their business is getting them to raise their prices.
Yes.
They're so nice and like kind-hearted, which was great for me coming into the space where I was used to like more the corporate with the RV, where having tattoos and earrings prevented me from getting promoted, and then it made me wildly acceptable and easy to talk to
Yeah.
at these shows.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are so so like big hearted that like, well, Mrs. Smith's been with me for 3 years and I started her at $87.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I can't raise Mrs. Smith's price.
We could have a whole podcast on just how to raise grooming prices.
Yeah, I have a very kind letter that I send out for people that don't know how to do it, that they just fill in their information and then they can just support it to all their clients.
Yeah,
Nice.
good. But that's great that you guys are offering those resources, especially because, as you mentioned, a lot of the folks that you probably work with were groomers, but their responsibility was to come and groom. They were an employee, and now as the owner of the business, who needs to be mindful of profitability, so that they can continue to work for themselves and have all this free time that Chaz thinks they have, but. But they have to be mindful of those things. And I know Sherry and I both work with a retail consulting organization called the Retail Smart Guys. And one of the first things they said to me is stop discounting your food. And I'm like, well, I don't like putting restrictions on people. And they're like, that's fine. You want to be fair to your customer, but you need to be fair to yourself or you're not going to be in business much longer. And so I've taken their advice, right? And I've stopped the discounts on the food. But it has made a difference. Like it's made a difference in actual cash flow because we don't make money on food anyways. Everybody knows that in the pet industry. And here I am discounting something I'm already losing money on. So, but it's great that you guys have those same kind of resources to help pet pros who are
Right.
like,
I love that you're not just selling vans and then saying good luck.
see you later.
That's why I did a little research on you guys before I reached out, and I really liked what you had to offer. So thank you for sharing with us. And I hope some of our listeners, if you were thinking about bringing grooming into your business, this might be a possible avenue.
Well, it's worth a conversation, right? Like, I mean, and if somebody is kind of on the fence and they're thinking, well, maybe this is the way I can offer services if I've got a tiny store, they're welcome to contact you guys to kind of to chat that out, right? And speak to the experts who can tell them, yeah, you're in a good space. You guys have a couple shows coming up that you're going to. Where are you heading and when are those shows?
Let me pull them up here because it is a lengthy amount. I know the first one that we'll be at after this podcast is the Beach Fest in Virginia Beach.
Okay. Well, and all I'm thinking,
that one.
Yeah, is if we've got some listeners who want to go meet the team from Wag'n Tails in person, see a van. I'm assuming you'll have a van with you at the show.
We will.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, it's Chaz will get the actual dates, but we're Virginia Beach at Beach Fest in the middle of April,
17th to 19th.
17th through 19th.
Okay.
And then we go to New Jersey.
Yep, May 15th through 17th at Intergroom.
Okay.
We'll be at RW Groom X in Owensboro, Kentucky, May 29th through 31st. We'll be at the Heart of America Grooming Show, June 17th to 19th in Kansas City, Missouri. Super Zoo in Las Vegas, August 12th to 14th. And August 14th to 16th, we'll be at All American in Schaumburg, Illinois. And then the big one, obviously, that everybody knows about is Groom Expo in Hershey, Pennsylvania, September 11th through 13th. And we end the season with the New England Grooming Show, September 25th through 27th, and Fun in the Sun in Jacksonville, Florida, October 16th through 18th.
So you can pretty much plan some vacations around all those stops.
Yeah.
The East Coast, go to Florida.
I've always
You've got a
heard about
busy calendar.
the Hershey one, and I kind of want to hit that up one day. So
Yeah,
listen,
it's a great show.
What I didn't hear was any shows in Saskatchewan.
Oh, sorry.
We're waiting for you to start that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'll
There you
start a
go.
grooming expo in Saskatchewan, the
There you go.
biggest in Canada, because it's the only one in Canada.
I hope
No one needs to know.
both of us will be at Super Zoo, so we hope to see you guys there. And I want to take a little tour of one of the vans.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Please.
Yes. Well, and again, we will make sure to include in our show notes the link to the success plan if you are thinking that a mobile grooming truck fits into your business.
Do they have to contact them for the plan?
Yes, the link I'm putting is the contact to Wag'n Tails. So where do we contact you guys if somebody is interested?
Sales at wagentails.com if they want to go that route.
Okay.
Or they're welcome to call in at 800-513-0304. Or if they want some pre-planning and success guide prior to doing so, my personal number is 574-381 or 5159.
5159.
And it's
Okay.
the website is wagentails.com, right?
Yes.
WAGN. Yeah.
WAGNTAILS. They can have my email as well if they'd like it. It's the letter C like Charlie, my last name Bellman, BELLMAN @wagentails.com.
Perfect.
Perfect.
We will get all of that into the show notes so that folks can get a hold of you. Remember that if you are interested in seeing the success guide, to mention Pet Shop Girls so that they know that that's where you're coming from, and the team over at Wag'n Tails can help you out with some information. Speaking of Wag'n Tails, I don't know if you keep hearing and seeing my little dude. He obviously thinks it's supper time. All right. Well, I want to thank you both for spending some time with us. I know you guys are busy and you've got lots on the go and a full calendar of trade shows coming up.
That's right.
So hopefully our listeners can get out and see you. And I hope that we get lots more vans on the road for you guys as well.
I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. This is great.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Until next time, Pet Pros. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Pet Pro. That's it for this week.
Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe.
Just hit all the buttons.
And if you want more, join us in the Indie Insider, our private Facebook group for pet pros.
Then you'll never miss the podcast that makes you sit, stay, and beg for more. The Pet Shop Girls.
Pet Shop Girls.
Carly, why did the pet store clerk cross the road?
To fetch more chicken necks. Heyo! Can we just say something out loud for a second? Business coaching does not have to cost hundreds of dollars a month.
It really doesn't. And yet somehow our industry has normalized paying massive retainers for someone to tell you what you already know you should be doing, but not how to do it.
Exactly. You should send emails. Cool. How? You should run events. Great. What kind? You should train your staff. Okay. With what system? That's why we created the Pet Shop Girls Off the Record Substack.
Because inside Off the Record, we don't just talk about what to do. We break down exactly how we do it in our own stores and businesses.
That's right. The spreadsheets, the playbooks, the templates, the systems, the scripts. We've already done the trial and error, so you don't have to burn cash figuring it out.
If something worked for us, we show you how to implement it. If something flopped, we tell you that too. It's real-world, indie-tested strategy.
This is business coaching for pet pros who actually want to grow without paying $200, $800, or $2,000 a month for vague motivation.
You get proven strategies you can apply immediately to increase revenue, build stronger teams, and run a smarter operation.
If you've ever thought, I just need someone to show me exactly how they're doing this, Off the Record is where that happens.
Come behind the scenes with us.
Join Pet Shop Girls Off the Record on Substack. The link is in our show notes.